Asari have been down this road before, Commander Shepard.
But Madam Counselor, let me...
I tried to smooth things over with the Salarian Dalatras. To say she's upset would be a monumental understatement.
Some of these issues are hundreds of years old. Time to let go.
Sad to say, but any effort to ally these disparate groups seems doomed to failure. And I'm sure you understand that we cannot afford to waste time with the Reapers knocking at our door. This must be my final word. I'm sorry, but the Asari will not be at your summit.
Our alliance would be stronger with the Krogan. You need them. We all do.
I wish you luck, Commander. Goodbye.
Previously, on Mass Effect 3, we extracted the Turian Primarch from a war zone. Today we're just gonna potter around the ship and catch up on some things.
Commander, Edie just went offline.
What do you mean, offline?
I don't know, she's not responding and I can't access the AI core diagnostics. You better get down to Deck 3.
Commander, the comm systems are going haywire. Whatever's happening is centered on Deck 3.
See if you can get to Edie. I'll check the AI core.
During the mission on Monet, the Normandy developed some kind of electrical fault. Now we're going to find out why.
Automated systems have the fires contained. It should be safe to enter. We'll follow your lead.
Joker, what's that sound?
Fire extinguishers, Commander. Could be an electrical fire, or something.
I'm going in. Edie, talk to me.
Is there a particular topic you wish to discuss, Shepard?
Edie?
Yes.
Edie is... as I said when we met Garrus back on Monet, it's possible for your game save state to cause certain characters to be dead when you start. And again, as I said before, this potentially includes party members. It's entirely possible that someone can play Mass Effect 3 and end up not being able to recruit 4 of the potential squad mates.
Activated.
There are, however, 3 squad mates that cannot die or become otherwise unrecruitable: Liara, James, and Edie. These 3 cover the 3 class power sources, biotics, combat, and tech respectively, meaning that the player will never be without certain core power capabilities. Edie is the engineer analog and has a mixture of direct damage and defense powers.
So if you're in there, are you still in the ship?
I exist primarily within the ship. For optimal control, this unit should remain within Normandy's broadcast or tight beam range.
Are you planning to take that body somewhere?
Normandy's weaponry is not suited to every combat situation. This platform could provide limited fire ground support.
You mean you could come with us?
Correct. This body could accompany you to areas the Normandy cannot reach.
Before we do that, I need you to guarantee this mech doesn't have any more surprises in it. Run whatever tests you can. Then we can talk about using it in combat situations.
One moment. I am running trials. Complete. I can send you a full report if you wish. However, my first step should be restoring functionality to the Normandy, to reassure the crew that all is normal.
Just don't be surprised if the crew is a little wary of your new body. It was shooting at them a little while ago.
An excellent point. I will take it to the bridge. Joker will also want to see it.
On that, we can agree.
Hello, Shepard.
Still getting used to greeting people in person?
I don't like to use Edie very often, which is a bit of a shame really. There's a very long and rich tradition in science fiction of exploring the concept of artificial life, or more accurately, exploring what it means to be human from the perspective of someone who is not. The one that you're probably most familiar with is Data of Star Trek The Next Generation and his ongoing quest to become more human. Other works that touch on the concept are some of Isaac Asimov's robot stories, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which Edie quotes at one point later in the video, and also other non-genre stories like The Adventures of Pinocchio, or myths like those of Pygmalion, the sculptor who fell in love with his creation. Arguably, a lot of creation myths, I'm thinking in particular of the myth of Pandora, a woman created by the gods to punish humanity for their hubris, approach the question from the other side.
Why are you asking about something like that?
I was designed by Cerberus. I do not take moral stances that conflict with orders from my executive officers. But when Jeff removed my AI shackles, I became capable of self-modifying my core programming. I asked Jeff if he thought I should change anything now that I can. He deflected the question with humor.
A lot of ED's dialogues throughout the game focus on ED confronting a difficult ethical or metaphysical concept and asking Shepard for advice.
Only you can really.
We're going to see two in this video, but there's several more scattered about. There are dialogues on transhumanism, different laws of reality in alternative universes, and others. ED is actually integral to one of the core themes of the game, the difference between organic and synthetic life. This theme was, in fact, the driving impetus for the entire series.
I will keep you informed.
Back in the early 2000s, a Japanese laboratory developed a voice synthesizer that used silicon lips and artificial vocal cords to mimic the sounds of a human mouth. This tied into Casey Hudson's conjecture on alien civilizations and existential risks. That, at a certain levels of technology, a culture becomes confronted with the power to destroy itself and must adapt its practices in order to avoid self-annihilation. So, for example, how developing nuclear weapons led humanity to discard total war as a strategy, due to the threat of mutually assured destruction. So therefore, any post-nuclear alien civilization that we encountered would have to be similarly peaceful, since otherwise they would have destroyed themselves long before, kind of like the Krogan, for instance. So, inspired by the Japanese experiment with artificial vocal cords, Hudson thought that, after nuclear power, the next crucible a civilization would have to face would be the creation of artificial life, when synthetic creations rival organic bodies in their sophistication and capabilities, when the created begin to surpass the creators. This is the key angst, the core conflict at the heart of the entire setting. You may recognise it in the form of daddy issues, which I'll talk about in more detail later. So ED is critical to the story that Mass Effect 3, that Mass Effect as a whole, wants to tell. But you're probably not going to see a lot of her, and that's largely for two reasons. The first is that ED's design makes me quite uncomfortable. I mean, just look at her. Massive breasts, visible genitals. It's weird. It's really weird. Back in November 2011, when the script for Mass Effect 3 leaked to the public, Hudson was quite upset at how fans on the internet immediately labelled ED a sex bot. It's a reference to Fritz Lang's Metropolis, he raged. And okay, that might be true. Personally, I don't see that great a resemblance, but Maria also had normal-sized breasts. The art direction for ED is problematic, to say the least. She's not alone in this. In the same series, we have buxom babe Miranda Lawson and titty strap Jack. In the industry as a whole, female characters are incredibly sexualized, largely as a matter of course. It's rare that we see a woman in a game that isn't. Even Faith from Mirror's Edge, a character designed first and foremost to be athletic, capable, and focused on her relationship with her sister, even Faith got the male gaze treatment from an outraged fan. This is a subject a little out of the scope of this playthrough. It's not to say that there's no place for attractive people, men and women, in games, but there's a time and a place. In this instance, it distracts from the character, from ED's evolution as a sentient being, and it comes off as indulgent. It's very obvious that Edie has big boobs for your sake, the male player's sake, rather than as her own choice, whatever that may be. And that's bad.
So you're capable of making improvements on your own?
Correct. The cyber warfare I was designed for is constantly evolving. Accordingly, I am programmed to seek out and assimilate new information. In organic terms, I want to learn.
Carry on, Edie.
Understood. If you wish to talk more...
The second reason, there's two reasons. The second reason I don't like to interact with Edie is Joker.
Hey, Commander, check out my co-pilot!
This is more of a general bad writing issue.
Tech without authorization.
Romance is really good. It's really important in fiction. Lots of stories wouldn't work if there wasn't two characters in it trying to get it on. Again, though, there's a time and a place.
A little more flexibility. Sweet, sweet flexibility.
I am right here, Jeff.
Yes, you are, Edie. Yes, you are.
BioWare's sort of taken on the player romance as one of their banners. If you want a role-player relationship with a set of pixels and some audio files, an actor recorded in a studio a million miles away, then BioWare games are the ones you want. They've built up a core of fans, lots of women, quite a few guys, based on their willingness to write romantic relationships between the player and NPCs. Now, I'm not a fan myself. The power dynamics are all off. Again, it feels quite indulgent. I like romances like between the Prince and Elika in the 2008 Prince of Persia. Something that isn't just progressing the romance meter until you reach the end and complete the relationship. The romance, attempted romance, between Joker and Edie feels forced. It feels like it's pandering to a certain contingent of fans that wanted the two to get together based on their friendship in Mass Effect 2. Which it is. There is a contingent, and it is pandering. It's a shame that quite a funny relationship, Joker as the gag man, Edie as a deadpan innocent, was squandered in favour of a romantic relationship because, romance is apparently an upgrade to friendship. You unfortunately can see something similar at the end of the game. Garrus and Tali will pair up, presumably on the basis that they're the only ones aboard that can eat each other's food. These are romances for the sake of having romances, rather than because there's any real worthwhile emotional arc.
There is little precedent that humans and synthetics can maintain relationships as equals. I will no longer devote processing power to exploring the possibility. Thank you, Shepard.
I also can't help but think of the tabletop RPG Eclipse Phase, a transhumanist sci-fi horror set after the destruction of Earth. It's a very imaginative setting, not that great mechanics. But in Eclipse Phase, neuroscience has advanced so much that you can upload your mind into anything. An organic body, a synthetic droid, a cloud of nanomachines, but with obvious consequences for society and culture. And I wonder, what if Edie had uploaded herself not into a sex bot, but into a Model 34A Emir battle mech? What if Edie's voice synthesizer was male or neuter? What if Edie was sexless, as, she is? How does... I can't believe I'm asking this. How does it work? Joker and Edie, how would they do it?
Getting a shattered pelvis and a broken heart. Such a stupid idea.
You and Edie have something special. Something important.
You're worried I might mess up the pilot-ship relationship.
I'm worried that Edie trusts you as a friend, and that maybe this isn't the time to push.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Thanks, Shepard.
Something on your mind? I mean, processing something?
Shall each man find a wife for his bosom, and each beast have his mate, and I be alone?
There are lots of interesting questions you can ask here, touching on complex social topics. Joker is disabled. He has a medical condition that makes physical intimacy difficult. How does society treat disability and sex in the future? How does it treat them now? How does having the physical body of an interstellar spaceship impact your psychology? We count in Base 10, say we see when we understand. What does Edie do and say? But instead of that interesting stuff, instead we get to see Seth Green attempt to woo a 3-year-old, and that's messed up, plain and simple. It's a shame that BioWare seems to consider romance the pinnacle, what everything is really all about, rather than just one of several facets of humanity, and it gets a bit tedious after a while, and on occasion you can see where aspects of characters have been neglected, because they didn't appeal to the shipping crowd.
The same standards as organics. Ah, I see. You made me answer my own question. If I am not subject to the same expectations, I need not worry about rank. Thank you, Shepard. That helps resolve the conflict I was having.
Alright, so let's cleanse our palate with a bit of Garrus.
2 of our dreadnoughts have been lost in a matter of hours.
I know, Primarch. I'm seeing the same numbers myself. They don't look good.
We have to turn this around, and fast.
Well, you can trust Shepard, sir. If anybody can get the Krogan to cooperate, it's him.
I'm counting on it. Turning to the Krogan is either the best or worst idea I've ever had. There's no in between here.
You did what you had to. I would have taken the same risk, sir.
I appreciate your confidence, Garrus, though it could just mean we're both idiots. That will be all.
Garrus. Didn't waste any time getting to work, I see.
After what I've been through lately, calibrating a giant gun is a vacation. Gives me something to focus on.
I won't lie, I like Garrus quite a lot, just like everyone else really. By the time Mass Effect 3 rolls around, Garrus and Shepard feel like they've developed quite a strong friendship. Garrus is someone that Shepard can confide in, share things with. For example, Shepard's experience with the boy back on Earth.
There was a boy back on Earth. Couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. I watched him die as the Normandy escaped the attack. Somehow I'm still alive. And he's not.
Being right about the Reapers has never felt much like a victory, has it?
Shepard and the player probably feel okay with showing this vulnerability, in part because Garrus is such a screw-up.
Or pretended to. They finally gave me a task force as a token to shut me up.
So you're their expert advisor now?
Just followed your example, Shepard. Yell loud enough and someone will eventually come over to see what all the fuss is about. Not that they'll actually do anything about it.
Until hell shows up at their door. Then they put you in charge.
Not like the old days, is it? We're actually respectable now.
Garrus is written as quite non-threatening in a lot of ways. Your second interaction with him ever, back in Mass Effect 1, is an opportunity for you to judge him. He takes down a criminal with a hostage. It's a risky maneuver. And afterwards, you can praise him for his initiative, or chide him for endangering an innocent person. At the end of his arc, you can decide for him whether to rejoin C-Sec or not. In Mass Effect 2, you rescue him from a siege by criminal gangs. In the Shadow Broker DLC, the game explicitly says Garrus has exceptional tactical and team-building skills, but his leadership potential is overshadowed by Shepard. His romance in the same game depicts him as passive, inexperienced, shy and bumbling. He's very much written to be your second, your loyal right-hand man. He follows your lead, and you know what? That's fine.
Somebody who knows how to hold a hammer.
You mentioned you still had family on Palaven.
My father is there. Sister, too.
How long has it been since you heard from them?
Long enough to be worried.
I'm sure they're okay.
That's the thing about getting old, Shepard. The platitudes get just as old. What about you? Any word from your family?
My mother's in the Alliance. Haven't heard from her since Earth got hit.
I'm sure she's okay.
I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a power fantasy, sure, but it's not uncommon to the Normandy crew. We've already seen Edie quiz Shepard on philosophy and psychology. Liara has changed from a sheltered academic to ruthless controller of a galactic intelligence network. Just as Shepard is a transgressive figure, changing from Alliance Marine to Council Spectre to Cerberus Agent and back, so Shepard is also a transformative figure, directly encouraging and enabling others to transcend their origins and become something new. Shepard takes these impressionable clay models of people, an insecure Quarian pilgrim, a nihilistic Krogan mercenary, and moulds them, shapes them into something better. Sound familiar at all?
It's damn good to have you back.
Wouldn't miss this fight for anything. Now, I'm sure somebody screwed up something down here. I want to get the old girl back in fighting shape.
Commander, have you retrieved the Primarch for your summit?
Yes, sir. But the Asari are staying on the sidelines.
Occasionally in the game we'll get prompts to talk to Anderson or Hackett over the comms terminal. We're almost entirely separated from the Crucible project and the Reaper War as we attend to things like the Genophage and the Quarian problem. This is a nice little way to keep us in the picture with the overarching plot thread. Even though it's ostensibly the point of the game, it's important to remember that the Crucible and the Reapers aren't actually what the game is about. They aren't actually important, and that's why we don't spend much time on them. The Quarians, this summit, that's what counts.
Sending us to the Mars Archives was a good call.
Still doesn't make up for the fact that the Reapers nailed us to the wall. I sacrificed the entire Second Fleet to provide cover for the Third and the Fifth to retreat. Hell, I presided over the most devastating military defeat in human history.
How do you see us winning this war, Admiral?
By making you the tip of the spear.
I'm flattered, but the Normandy's just one ship.
And a fast one. You can move quickly, hit a target, and leave before the enemy has time to react.
It's an advantage, but can it win a war?
It's the larger principle that matters. We'll never defeat the Reapers in a full frontal assault, Shepard. The battle against Sovereign 3 years ago took everything we had, and that was just one Reaper.
I haven't forgotten.
So I'll find their soft spots, avoid them where they're strong, and hit them where they're not. And when I find gaps in the armor, I'll hammer them with every soldier, ship, and bullet we've got.
How long can we keep that up?
As long as it takes. The reality is, Shepard, everything I'm doing is a delaying action for you. I'm buying us time, keeping us in the game while you gather what we need for this Prothean device. So keep at it.
Has your analysis of the Prothean device turned up anything?
Liara appears to be right. It's a weapon of some sort. A big one. Beyond that, we really can't say, other than it's going to be a hell of a thing to try and build.
Do you think it's risky, building something like this when we don't even know what it does?
To be honest, the thing scares the hell out of me, but the Reapers have forced our hand. 2 centuries ago, scientists faced the same problem in the Second World War. They weren't sure what the atomic bomb might do. Some thought it could even ignite Earth's atmosphere, but they did it anyway.
Any updates on Cerberus?
They're still the wild card here. Hitting the archives on Mars suggests they're after the same thing we are. A way to defeat the Reapers.
It didn't seem as if the Elusive Man was suggesting we appease them. Not like Saren did. You'd think we'd be on the same side, now more than ever.
Cerberus has never played by the rules as we know them. I don't know what their agenda is, but it has nothing to do with humanity's best interests.
The Elusive Man talked about controlling the Reapers. He seemed to think that's how we win this.
He's wrong. Dead Reapers are how we win this.
Doesn't mean he won't try.
I saw your report on that Cerberus soldier you found on Mars. If the Elusive Man is good at one thing, it's finding new ways to subvert science. It's never worked for him before, and it won't now.
Nothing more, sir.
Keep me posted. Hack it out.
The summit is our best hope for organising a united response to the Reaper invasion. At the moment, every race is on its own, as some are getting harder hit than others. If Earth falls, that's one of the 4 most powerful governments gone. Success in the war drops by like 25%. The difficulty lies in getting the various species to understand the concept of enlightened self-interest, something that they're strangely reluctant to accept. If you like a rough comparison, think of how much shorter World War II might have been if the Allied powers had all just got together straight away when Germany invaded Poland.
Erd-not Reeve. Then you can tell me why I'm supposed to give a piss about the Turians. I've already got Reaper scouts sniffing around my own planet.
Reeve, spare us the bluster. I'm not a diplomat and neither are you. So stop pretending and just tell us what you want.
Oh, I'm deadly serious. You need our help? Then here's what you're going to do. Cure the genophage.
Absolutely not. The genophage is non-negotiable.
Why are you so opposed to the idea, Dalatrass?
Because my people uplifted the Krogan. We know them best.
You hid behind us while we saved you from your own cowardice. Your citadel exists only because the Krogan stopped the Rachni from swallowing it whole.
And after that, you ceased to be useful. The genophage was the only way to keep your urges in check.
Dalatrass, Reeve has a point. Antagonizing him won't solve anything.
I won't apologize for speaking the truth. We uplifted the Krogan to do one thing: wage war. It's all they know because it's all we wanted them to know.
Your people should have thought the matter through then. Was it really a surprise the Krogan revolted?
That's precisely my point, Commander. We made a rash decision. We turned to the Krogan in desperation. It's the same mistake you're about to make today. No good can come from curing the genophage.
Whether you like it or not, we need Krogan help to win this war.
And what happens when the war is over?
We'll find a new way to keep the peace.
And they'll break it.
Enough! This is all theoretical. It would take years to formulate a cure. There's no time.
That's where you're wrong. There was a Solarian, Malin. He took some kind of twisted pity on our females and tested a cure on them. It worked. But that scared the piss out of the Dalatrass here, so she ordered her goon squads to take them prisoner.
Where did you get this? It could be a fabrication.
No more lies! Those females are immune to the genophage, and they belong to me!
Dalatrass, is this true?
How will curing the genophage benefit my people?
How long do you think you'll last alone against the Reapers? Because if you don't help, that's how it'll end up.
And I'll be the last friendly Turian you ever see.
What's it gonna be?
The females are being kept at one of our STG bases on Surkash. But I warn you, Commander, the consequences of this will be felt.
Will be nothing compared to what happens if the Reapers win.
Let's get the females.
You're not setting foot on Surkash. This will take time.
It happens now. As a Council Spectre, Shepard can oversee the exchange.
We're going.
I won't forget this, Commander. A bully has few friends when he needs them most.